John, so good to see you. I really like today's topic. Retirement spending peaks earlier than you think. So here's a number that should change how you think about retirement: 12, because that's how many years the average healthy 60-year-old has before their mobility, energy, and independence start to decline. That's from the Office of National Statistics. Do you think this data would surprise most people?
I think it surprises most, you know, do-it-yourselfers or just
Yeah.
the average retiree because no one wants to think that, wow, in a decade, I'm not going to really be healthy enough to travel. But that's the growing pains of getting older.
Mhm.
It's the wear and tear on your body and the health. So I see this both in a personal sense with family members and with clients that, obviously, as you get older, you go through different phases in life and you do start to slow down.
Right. And so we'll talk more about that because now that we know the data, your plan should reflect it. You should not have an income plan that's going to be flat for the next 30 years, but it needs to support a rich early retirement and a more modest one later because that's how we will actually live. This is known as the go go, slow go, no go.
Yeah, and this it's a great discussion on the phases of retirement. And one of the income softwares that I use, they really specialize in what's called the retirement smile. And the go years there in your 60s, and I would even say for a lot of people into their late 70s, you know, you've worked your whole life to get to this point. Don't fret about allowing your money. Will my money last me 30 years? Live life. Live life. And we've said this before, people who don't live life because they're afraid of outliving their money or not leaving any money to their kids. They've always wanted to go on that European cruise or to Tahiti. They've always wanted to join the country club or spas, and they never do, Aaron. And guess what? They die, and guess who goes to Tahiti? Guess who joins the country club?
Yeah.
Guess who has spa days? Your kids, using
kids.
your
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So, I really like the concept of the retirement smile because we want you to spend that money.
Mhm.
And while we're talking about money and the go to the slow go to the no go, one area of planning that really shocks a lot of my new clients that I try to emphasize is your health and really setting health goals as simple as going on a 10 or 15-minute walk every day, because a body that stays in motion tends to last in motion.
Right.
And we've said this in many videos in the past, Aaron. If you don't have your health, your wealth is worthless. So enjoy those go-go years. And for a lot of people, I think that if they're fortunate with good health and they keep their bodies active and they really see that, wow, I was supposed to be in my slow go years, in my mid 70s, and here I am 80 and I'm traveling. And on a personal note, we just got back from a family vacation in the Caribbean, and my 84 or soon to be 84-year-old mom went, and she had the time of her life. She's drinking rum, coconuts and rum on the beach, but she was definitely slower, right? So
Mhm.
she's definitely in the slow go years, and it took the assistance of my sister and I, to help her get around, but really maximize those young, energetic years to enjoy life, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow, Aaron.
Right, absolutely. And the spending data backs this all up. According to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, retiree spending on travel and leisure peaks around age 75, then drops, not because the money ran out, but because the physical capacity to enjoy it did. Have you found this to be true?
Yeah, again, and I mentioned this both on the personal and the professional level. My aunt, she, we used to fly her out from back east all the time. And, these last couple of years, she just said, please, I can't do it anymore. It's getting too much as she's, entering her 80s. So I've seen that on a personal note, just the rigors that we take for, that we easily go through while we're younger. as you get older, the rigors of that flying and
Yeah.
the walking through the
Yeah.
airport, and even the wheelchair assistance gets to be a lot. And even on a professional level, you get people that they have the unfortunate diseases or cancers that really take a toll on their body, or that sciatica, that hip, that knee. And I've talked to people that said, we don't have a trip planned for the first year this year, just
Mm,
because it's too painful. We've
right.
and luckily those people, you know, helped, or took some of my advice, but they just live life and they don't have regrets.
Right. Right.
They look at it well, this is an unfortunate part of the aging process, but we live life earlier, and that's why Aaron and I, we've always hammered this home on our videos: live life, because eventually you won't be able to do it.
Right. And the tough part is we are so conditioned through decades to save, save, save that a lot of people are uncomfortable spending. So they spend that first decade of retirement really being frugal, afraid they're going to deplete their nest egg. When retirement planning isn't just about saving enough, as we talk about all the time, John, it's about knowing when to spend it too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly why we have two beach chairs on the ocean. We want you to live life, because, again, what are you going to do? You're going to pass it on to your kids and let them live the life you wanted, or are you going to pass it on to the government? Live life, enjoy life.
Right. Well said, John. I'm so glad that we had time to talk this through. And just as a friendly reminder to everybody watching, there are so many points that we've covered throughout this conversation today that they can take their time and go to your YouTube page and watch many separate retirement planning topics on their own time. So if somebody does want to sit down with you, though, and talk through creating a spending plan, an income plan in retirement, so that they're not nervous about spending their money when they reach that hard-earned retirement, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, well, visit our website, www.gosecurus.com. And like you said, we have plenty of educational videos on podcasts for you to review. And while you're on the website, you can click the Contact Us tab. And from here, you can choose a 20-minute phone call where I'll answer any general questions you may have. Or if you want to elicit our services, you can schedule a complimentary vision and clarity consultation. And before I go, Aaron, this video was a lot less about the data and more about the psychology
Yeah,
of
right.
retirement, because
Absolutely.
psychology plays a huge role. People, fear and greed are huge roles in how we spend and how we invest. And for a lot of people, again, they're not living the lives they deserve.
Mhm.
And having a retirement plan where you can see, hey, listen, and I'm going to pull this up here on the screen, Aaron, having the ability to look at your balances and say, listen, you can spend this much money, and this includes your taxes. And along the way, if we need to make adjustments, we make adjustments.
Yeah.
And, as you said earlier, it's not a flat spending line, right? Spend. And if we need to make small adjustments because you've had too good of a time, we can make them.
Mhm.
But have the information to live the life you deserve.
Absolutely. It's a moving target, which is why having a relationship with someone like you is so important. John, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Aaron.